Welcome back to another episode of Beautiful Homes with. Thank you all so much for the lovely feedback you gave me on the first episode. I'm so glad you all enjoyed it, and I loved reading all your comments on Instagram and Facebook especially, so thank you so much and I'm so glad you liked it. Today we have another special guest. Today we have the beautiful Mairi Helena. Hi and welcome to our second episode. So Mairi Helena is a beautiful textile designer. I recently found out that she didn't study textile in university and she did something else, but I'll let her tell you all about that. But she's a very talented textile designer. She creates the most beautiful prints inspired by Scotland. She has a really great way of bringing the modern and the traditional part of Scotland into these amazing prints. She uses these prints in wallpaper, fabric, lampshades, pretty much you name it. You could buy the fabric by the meter and do whatever you want with it. So it's so versatile and amazing, and it really adds so much character into your home. I'm so excited to go around her house and see how she's used her own products, because she's showcased it in a few of her rooms and a few of the products, and I cannot wait to see and just experience what it really looks like in a home, and I'm guessing you guys are going to enjoy it as well. So I'll pass you on to Mairi now, and she can just tell you a little bit how she started, a little bit about herself.
Well, thank you very much for having me. So I'm looking forward to showing you around my home. So we've stayed here in Edinburgh for 3 years now, and probably over that time is the time that I've sort of been developing my Mairi Helena brand as well. So It's been great to experiment with interiors and putting it in situ along with building the collection. So I started out, officially launched it in 2016. So I designed from elements of my photographs of Scotland, so inspired by colours and textures and the scenery of Scotland, and I use my images to create a layered pattern print, which I apply onto fabrics and wallpapers, as well as cushions and lampshades.
Wow! So you take all the pictures yourself?
Yes. That's
wow.
So any excuse to go travelling around Scotland, and in particular the West Coast, hugely inspirational, but also closer to home, and the East Coast as well, which is where we used to live prior to living here. So I've sort of collected over the years a portfolio of images, categorised them into different colours, and then when I'm designing I sort of pick out the different colours and build it in a layer. So it started with my camera. But prior to that, as you mentioned, I didn't study textiles. I come from a family of textile designers and artisans, so probably was very influenced from a young age, and colour and texture was driven to me, how important it was when I was growing up. But I come from a completely different background.
Which shocked me.
I studied to be a vet here in Edinburgh. So been a vet for coming up to 10 years now.
Wow.
But slowly my textiles is taken over, and now that's what I'm doing full time.
You must have an amazing eye for design then, and you're so talented to be able to create that without studying it. And
I think it's that's very kind. It's been my escape, I suppose. And I've always loved art. Was my favourite subject at school. But I took the sciences because that's what I decided to do. I love art and design. It's always been my favourite subject.
Oh, that's amazing, incredible. I'm so shocked, honestly, when she told me earlier that she did it. I was like, oh, I really thought you studied, because I don't know, I just can't imagine you doing anything other than this, because you're so talented. So shall we go and have a little look at your home?
Tour? Yes.
Yeah? Okay, let's go, guys.
Hello. Welcome to our colourful home.
It is so bright and lovely.
So our hallway, with so it sort of branches off into the different rooms. Where would you like to start? Okay, so this is our kitchen. So when we moved in, this was actually a wall coming across here, so we knocked this wall through so that we could have this little seating area in the window, which is lovely when the sun comes in. So we've got we did the kitchen when we moved in, so these we did a new unit, and we are proud of our curvy corners. And then any excuse to put wallpaper up, so I've managed to get a small wall on the wallpaper, because technically this is my husband's domain in here, but I did manage to sneak in a little wallpaper there. And then well, lots of the furniture we've actually got locally from there's an amazing interior shop down the road where we got our quirky table from.
So what inspires you? I know that Scotland obviously inspires you, but what really catches your eye? Because there's so much beautiful things in Scotland.
So I think it's the details and just the close-up textures, even on a rock or a wall. There's just I love my close-up macro lens on my camera and getting the real sort of details. So lichens and branches and walls, so they're all great for texture, but also the flora as well. So in my first collection in particular, the teasels and thistles featured a lot, and that was sort of has become a bit of a look for the first collection. So that's a very inspiration, but also just the colours in the larger land as well. So the sea, the colour of the sea, in particular the west coast, the turquoise blue sea. Looking to the east coast, there was lots of old sort of sea walls and rusty walls and very weather beaten look, which I love capturing as well. So yeah, I think there's all the little. This is our main bedroom. So we've just recently designed in one of my new wallpapers from my new collection, which is launching next month, so it's a sneak peek.
That's my favourite one.
I like the level, I like the sort of quirkiness and the different ceiling heights. It makes it sometimes quite difficult to know which bit to paint with all the different angles of the room, but we decided to paint when we redecorated this room recently, and we painted all the way round to make to emphasise that sort of snug. We've used this is dark truffle on the walls here. It's Craig and Roast paint, and so I just liked the sort of earthy, snug colour that it gave, and I liked the way it went with my new wallpaper, which this one's called Lost Valley. So it's inspired by a trip where we went to Glencoe and just did the Lost Valley or explored the Lost Valley walk. It was quite appropriately named because we went completely off track and managed to not cross the river at the top and managed to get completely lost and ended up scrambling up this steep scree path, but actually it then meant that we had the scenery completely to ourselves. We got the best picnic spot of the day, and it resulted in this print here, which is perfectly named Lost Valley.
I guess every print then will remind you of memories, doesn't it?
Yes, it's not, yes. So, and I think so I've got 8 new wallpapers in my collections I'm bringing out next month, and each one is from a separate trip that we've made over the last year, so it's nice to remember them by that. We painted the radiators. This is something that I've got into now. I can't stand white radiators, so we painted that's in a Pentland, so it's a darker shade, and then we've matched it with the colour on the chest of drawers. And these are our find of the month from Anthropology in the sale. So we started a gallery wall. So we're so these are just a couple from our wedding a few years ago, and canoeing on Loch Foyle in the Trossachs, one of our favourite places to go. And this is from the Summer Isles, canoeing around the Summer Isles last summer. So that's something that we just started, and we're going to be spreading it along the wall. Our lampshades are, so these are seconds, which shows, so they're odds and ends. I should make myself proper lampshades, but I tend to get left with the seconds, which but that's the very first lampshade that I ever made, so that's why that's still there, because it's sentimental. Our little Moroccan inspired bathroom in here. So there's a big star on the wall. So this is, when we first moved in, this didn't actually have a door. It was all open, an open plan bathroom, so we immediately put a door on it. And we picked lots of tile. We went tile crazy, and I think the star was a quirky thing that we wanted to do when you came around the corner. We had fun stenciling this wall here with a stencil, which is good fun, and hopefully it sort of gives the added texture and a different, quite a sort of fun way to give a authentic look. Into the living room next, which I think is one of my favourite rooms, because it's so light and bright. And we still haven't got around to putting up curtains. So this is our living room. So this room was probably all decorated around the colours of this feature wall here on the at the fireplace. So when we moved in, this was just a panelled across wooden panels across the wall. So we wanted to make that a feature again, and so we put back in the stove and made this a feature wall around the stove, and put in the fireplace and the mantelpiece. So this colour we actually mixed ourselves in here, because we couldn't get one that we were happy with at the beginning, and it was fun to be experimenting and to mix our own. It feels quite, especially in the springtime, it matches the colour of the leaves outside on the trees, which is always really satisfying, and it reminds me of France, and that's why we've got a picture up here. Oh, a lot of these pictures in here are my auntie's pictures, including this one from my wedding day, but this one here is from France.
When you start a process of creating a new collection or even a print, what's the first thing that you do?
But sometimes it comes from going for a walk and seeing a pattern in a hill, and that's what happened with some of the designs in my second collection. the Glenvoyle design that came from a New Year's Day walk, seeing the patterns in the hills with the snow, and it looked like a velvet, and I wanted to capture it and translate it into a design. And other times the designs come later, and so I'll be taking pictures out on trips and travels, and it's not until I'm sitting back down at the computer and the design or theme of the design emerges later down the line, which is what happened for my current collections. The theme came together at the end of designing them all. I sort of stumbled across this theme that I wanted to explore further.
Do you ever look at trends as well and trying to incorporate that, or do you stick away from?
I try and keep aware of trends, but I don't let that influence my designs. So I think it's important to be aware of what's on trend and what people like in their homes and what colours they like to use in their homes. But I try and do my own thing. So this is our spare room, which is we're still not finished. We're sort of doing it in little stages, but we're quite we wanted to upcycle our wardrobe there, so we've used the grey tiller thistle on the panels, and we're looking to do I would love to do lots of different things with this room, but it's still a work in progress.
Do you have a favourite print?
The Island Botanist is one of my favourites, I think because it's using all my favourite colours, but also because it's from a trip to Islay, which was lovely. It's called Island Botanist because it's inspired by the sort of, we went on a whiskey tour, and you can sort of hop between distillery to distillery, and so Island Botanist is inspired by the sort of peaty colours of the water and the whiskey barrels and the casks and the different colours found along that route. But it seems to have incorporated a lot of my favourite colours that thankfully are a lot of other people's favourite colours when they're decorating for interiors too. So it's been a popular design, but it also reminds me of a lovely trip away to the west coast, and it's all my colours in one, so that's my favourite one.
Will you keep your inspiration just from Scotland, or will you branch out and maybe start, maybe travelling outside France? Because I know you like...
Yeah, I do love France. We go to France a lot, and we love the lavender fields and the colours in Provence, and it's the summertime, and I've been taking a lot of pictures there over the last few years, so you never know. I think it's important to design and to keep fresh and be bringing out new designs, but also still keeping it with your signature style on it. So yes, it's something that I would like to think further down the line, and I'm sort of gathering images at the moment, and maybe sort of more pastel colours and designs will emerge from those trips. This is my studio. So this is the Island Botanist. This is my favourite, the one I was mentioning about earlier on the wall, the Island Botanist wallpaper. So mainly my main projects are fabrics and wallpapers, hence a lot of fabrics here. I mostly actually print to order, but I do keep a small amount of some stock here, but this is just a small number here, and wallpapers down here, and this is all my sampling of wallpapers. what am I going to be doing next?
Yeah, what's your next plan?
So, well, next month I'm building up at the moment to my third collection launch, which is my wallpaper designs, but there's also going to be a new product which I can't reveal too much about at the moment, but it's going to be available at the Scotch Interior Showcase, which happens middle of February, and alongside that there's going to be a development to my fabrics, what I have to offer alongside my printed fabrics. So that's what's on the what's in the pipeline at the moment, along with looking at potentially a new studio space as well, although at the moment it's lovely to be able to have the opportunity to work from home, but maybe growing out of space here, but that's what's in the pipeline at the moment.
And what's your favourite part of the whole process?
I think the reward of seeing it up in situ, whether that's in somebody's own home or whether that's in a commercial interior space, it's really rewarding to see it going up and knowing that somebody's getting enjoyment out of seeing your prints or using your prints in their home, and knowing that's maybe hopefully giving them a burst of colour in their interior.
So thank you very much, Mairi, for having us in your home. You have such a beautiful home, and I love seeing your prints in real life. It's such an experience just walking around and feeling them, and I can see all that love that you've put and effort in them. I'll leave all Mairi's details down below. You can check her out, check out her website, and her Instagram is always inspirational. I love following her. So go check her out and leave your comments and let us know what you thought of this interview, and I hope you've enjoyed getting to know Mairi with me, because I really enjoyed being here. Hopefully see you in my next episode. Bye!